The city of Harwood was alive with sound and movement as evening approached. The streets were busy with people hurrying home from work. Car horns rang in the distance, and the sunlight reflected off glass buildings. In the middle of this busy city, the parking lot of a tall office building remained quieter. It was a place where employees finished their day and cars lined up neatly in rows. Among the quiet was a woman named Maya, a janitor who worked at the building. She moved with calm precision, carrying a mop and bucket while organizing supplies and checking that everything was clean. Her hair was tied back, and her uniform was neat. On the surface, she looked like any ordinary worker, but beneath her calm exterior lay a past that very few could imagine. Maya had once served in the military. She had trained for situations far more dangerous than cleaning floors. She had learned to stay calm under pressure and to react quickly. But she kept all of that hidden, blending into ordinary life. Most people saw only the polite, quiet janitor who greeted them with a smile. That evening, as Maya finished wiping the last stretch of floor near the elevators, she heard the sound of expensive shoes tapping against the concrete. Victor, a wealthy businessman, was walking toward his luxury car. Victor was known across the city for his ruthless attitude and sharp temper. He liked to control every situation and often bullied those he considered beneath him. He had just come from an important meeting and was in a foul mood. When Victor noticed Maya near his car, he stopped. His eyes narrowed and his voice grew sharp. "Why is this taking so long?" he demanded. Maya looked up calmly, her hands steady on the mop handle. "I'm finishing as fast as I can, sir," she said politely. Her voice was soft but firm, and she did not show fear. Victor's face twisted with anger. He had no patience for polite replies that were not full of fear. Without thinking, he grabbed Maya by the throat and lifted her slightly off the ground. Shock and fear flashed in his eyes, but he thought it was hers. Maya's expression remained calm. She did not struggle immediately. Instead, she measured the situation. She knew she could overpower him easily if necessary, but she wanted to make him understand before things escalated. In a quiet voice, almost like a warning, she said, "You do not know who you are dealing with." Victor laughed, a cruel and nervous laugh. "I think I know exactly who I am dealing with," he sneered. "A janitor trying to talk back to me?" Maya's eyes narrowed slightly. The muscles in her body tensed, ready to act if needed. Her military training came back in an instant. She remembered drills, strategies, and self-defense techniques that had kept her alive in dangerous situations. Victor had no idea that his arrogance had put him in a position of extreme danger. Around them, the parking lot was emptying as the evening shadows grew long. A few employees passing by glanced at the confrontation but did not dare intervene. Victor was rich and powerful, and most people avoided trouble. Maya's calmness in the face of danger was almost invisible to those watching. But the tension in the air was clear. Victor's grip loosened slightly as he underestimated her. Maya saw her chance. With a controlled movement, she stepped forward, shifted her weight, and used her training to twist free. Her hands moved with precision, and within seconds, Victor was off balance. He stumbled backward, shocked by the sudden strength and speed of a woman he had thought weak. Maya stood straight, her eyes steady and confident. She did not smile, but her presence alone commanded respect. Victor could not move without fear now. He had underestimated her completely. The janitor in front of him was no ordinary worker. She was a trained soldier, calm, precise, and capable of far more than he had imagined. The evening settled around them, quiet but tense. Maya's military past had been hidden for years, but now it was clear that anyone who threatened her would learn that strength often comes in unexpected forms. Victor took a cautious step back, realizing too late that his temper and arrogance had put him in serious trouble. Maya, adjusted her uniform, and looked at him evenly. "Think before you act next time," she said calmly. Her warning was clear, and her control over the situation left no room for doubt. Victor swallowed, his pride shaken, and slowly moved toward his car. He had learned an important lesson. Maya, the quiet janitor, was someone not to be underestimated. The next morning, the office building was alive with activity. Employees rushed through the lobby, their briefcases swinging and shoes clicking against the marble floors. Maya moved calmly through the crowd, her mop in hand, her eyes observing everything around her. She had returned to her routine as if nothing had happened the night before, but her mind stayed alert. She knew that Victor's temper and ego would not let him forget the confrontation in the parking lot. Victor, on the other hand, had barely slept. His mind replayed the previous evening over and over. He could not believe that a janitor had stood up to him and had the strength to handle him without any visible effort. The thought made his pride burn. He was used to people fearing him, obeying him, and giving way to his anger. To be challenged like that was a new experience, one that he did not like at all. By mid-morning, Victor arrived at the building, dressed in a sharp suit, his face set with determination. He scanned the parking lot carefully before entering, searching for Maya. When he saw her near the elevator, calmly moving a cart with cleaning supplies, his lips tightened. He felt the need to show his authority and make sure she knew that she could not challenge him again. Maya noticed him immediately, but kept her movement steady. She knew confrontation might happen again, but she remained composed. Victor approached her slowly, a forced smile on his face. "Good morning, Maya," he said, his voice smooth but carrying an edge. "I hope you are ready to work hard today." Maya paused for a moment, holding a mop in one hand. She smiled politely. "Good morning, sir. I am always ready to do my best," she said. Her calm tone did not show fear or anger, only focus and professionalism. Victor's eyes narrowed. He wanted to intimidate her, to make her feel small. But every attempt he made was met with a steady gaze that did not falter. It confused him. He was used to people reacting quickly to fear, but Maya did not give him that satisfaction. Determined to regain his sense of control, Victor began to monitor her every move throughout the day. He watched as she cleaned the floors, organized supplies, and ensured that the building remained spotless. Every action was precise, almost effortless. He noticed the way she moved with focus, her eyes scanning the area, her body always ready. There was something in her presence that made him uneasy, though he could not explain it. Maya, meanwhile, continued her work while staying aware of Victor. She did not want trouble, but she also would not tolerate disrespect or unnecessary aggression. Her past military training taught her that danger often came unexpectedly, and preparation was key. She moved silently through the halls, knowing that any sudden action could happen at any moment. By late afternoon, Victor decided he needed to confront her again. He could not let his ego be ignored. He called her to his office, hoping that a private meeting would allow him to assert his authority. Maya entered the room calmly, holding a clipboard and cleaning supplies. She smiled politely and waited for him to speak. Victor leaned back in his chair, trying to appear relaxed but radiating tension. "Maya," he began, "I need to make sure we understand each other. You cannot act like last night did not happen. That kind of behavior is unacceptable." Maya stood quietly, her posture straight. "I understand, sir. I only want to do my job well and keep the building clean. I do not want conflict." Victor's eyes flickered with frustration. He wanted fear, submission, or an apology. Instead, he received calm and confidence. The combination unnerved him more than anger. He could not figure out how someone so ordinary-looking could appear so strong and controlled. As the conversation continued, it became clear that Victor was struggling. Maya's calmness was unshakable. She spoke clearly and politely, but every word carried a quiet strength. Victor realized that intimidation alone would not work on her. He began to feel that there was more to her than he had seen before. By the time Maya left his office, Victor's mind was racing. He knew he needed a plan, but he did not yet understand the full extent of her abilities. Maya returned to her routine, aware that Victor's next move could be unpredictable. She prepared herself silently, trusting her instincts and training, ready for whatever came next. The day ended with tension in the air. Victor had left with unanswered questions, and Maya had finished her shift with calm efficiency. Both knew that the confrontation in the parking lot was only the beginning. Something larger was coming, a test of strength, intelligence, and courage that neither could ignore. The city of Harwood continued to move around them, unaware of the quiet battle building in the parking lot and the office halls. Maya remained calm and prepared, and Victor remained frustrated and determined. Both were ready, in their own ways, for the next encounter that would challenge them like never before. The next morning, Harwood streets were busy as usual, but the tension in the office building had not gone unnoticed by some of the employees. Whispers circulated about Victor's anger and Maya's calmness. Few had seen the confrontation in the parking lot, but everyone sensed that something unusual had happened. Maya arrived early, pushing her cleaning cart through the quiet halls before the workday began. Her movements were smooth and efficient. She checked supplies, organized tools, and made mental notes of anything that needed extra attention. Despite the quiet start, she remained alert, remembering Victor's pride and temper from the previous day. Victor, meanwhile, had spent the night planning. He could not tolerate being challenged by someone he considered beneath him. That morning, he arrived with a sense of determination. He wanted to confront Maya again, this time more directly, hoping to remind her of his authority. As Victor approached her in the parking lot, he tried to hide his unease. "Maya," he called, forcing a controlled voice. "I need a moment of your time." Maya paused, resting her hand on her mop. "Of course, sir," she replied calmly, walking beside him toward the side of the building where fewer people were present. Victor stopped and faced her. He attempted a smile that did not reach his eyes. "Yesterday was unacceptable. You need to understand that your actions could have consequences. I do not tolerate disrespect." Maya looked at him steadily. "Sir, I do my work every day to the best of my ability. I follow the rules and respect everyone here. I do not want trouble." Victor's temper flared slightly. He stepped closer, trying to intimidate her again. "Do you think you can challenge me?" he demanded. Maya's body shifted slightly, a subtle movement that showed readiness. "I do not challenge people for no reason. I only respond when necessary," she said quietly. Her calm voice and steady posture made Victor realize he was not dealing with an ordinary janitor. Victor's mind raced. He had expected fear, submission, or hesitation. Instead, he saw focus and confidence. He took a step back, unsure of how to proceed. His pride made him want to act, but a part of him understood that this woman was different. She had strength and skills he could not see at first glance. Maya's military training allowed her to assess the situation quickly. She noticed Victor's nervous tension, the slight shifting of his weight, and the way his hands moved when he spoke. She could anticipate his next move if necessary. Her calm presence created a quiet authority in the space between them. Victor, growing impatient with his own inability to intimidate her, decided to escalate slightly. He reached out, attempting to grab her arm. Maya reacted immediately. With precise movement, she stepped aside, maintaining her balance and ensuring no harm came to herself or him. Her reaction was fast but controlled, showing the result of years of disciplined training. Victor froze, startled by her speed and skill. He realized that he could not overpower her with force alone. Maya's control over the situation left him unsure, a feeling he had rarely experienced. He wanted to assert authority, but he was learning that power sometimes required more than aggression. Maya stood straight, her eyes calm and confident. "Sir," she said softly, "please understand that I only act in defense of myself or others. I am committed to my work, and I do not seek conflict." Victor's frustration was clear, but so was his hesitation. He began to question his approach. He had assumed that wealth and power could demand obedience, but Maya had shown him otherwise. He felt an unusual mix of respect and irritation. By the end of the encounter, Victor backed away, taking a deep breath. He had not won, but he also had not lost entirely. He understood now that Maya's presence was more than ordinary, and he needed to think carefully about his next steps. Maya returned to her work, cleaning the nearby floors and organizing supplies with her usual efficiency. She remained alert, ready for any situation, but continued her routine as if nothing had happened. The quiet confidence she displayed left a lasting impression on anyone who glanced her way. The day moved on, the building bustling with activity. Yet, an invisible tension lingered. Victor was planning, Maya was prepared, and the city of Harwood continued unaware of the quiet battle unfolding in a corner of the parking lot. Each was waiting for the next moment when paths would cross again, a test of patience, strength, and intelligence that neither could ignore. The day after their second encounter, the office building of Harwood was alive with its usual activity. Employees moved quickly through the halls, carrying documents, talking on phones, and hurrying to meetings. Maya arrived early, as always, pushing her cleaning cart with quiet efficiency. She greeted a few coworkers politely, her calm presence noticeable but not intrusive. Her mind, however, remained alert. Victor's temper and pride had not been forgotten. She knew that he would not let the previous confrontations go so easily. Victor had spent the night thinking carefully. He wanted to regain control, but brute force was clearly not an option. Maya had shown skill, intelligence, and calmness that unsettled him. Wealth and status were not enough to command respect or fear from her. He realized he needed a plan, a way to test her limits and see how she would react under pressure. By mid-morning, Victor had arranged a small event in the office building. A group of clients was visiting, and he had invited them to the conference room. He noticed Maya moving supplies nearby. With a careful smile, he called her over. "Maya, I need your help with something," he said, his voice polite but firm. Maya approached cautiously, aware that his request could be a test. "Of course, sir," she replied, keeping her voice even and her posture straight. Victor handed her a box of cleaning supplies that needed to be moved to a higher floor. "Please make sure this is done quickly and carefully," he said, his eyes studying her reaction. Maya nodded and carried the box with steady hands. She moved through the building efficiently, observing her surroundings while keeping control of the heavy load. Her mind remained alert, noting the positions of people and potential hazards. Victor followed at a distance, curious to see if she would falter or make a mistake. As she reached the top floor, one of the visitors from Victor's group tried to interrupt her work, asking questions and pointing to tasks she was already completing. Maya's response was calm and firm. "I will be happy to answer your questions after my work is finished," she said politely. Her tone left no room for argument, and the visitor stepped back, impressed by her composure. Victor watched closely. He had expected hesitation, confusion, or even fear. Instead, he saw focus, intelligence, and confidence. He began to realize that Maya's presence was not ordinary. She handled pressure, unexpected interruptions, and heavy work without losing control. Every movement she made reflected discipline and skill. After finishing the task, Maya returned to the conference area, placing the supplies neatly in a storage room. Victor stepped forward, trying to appear casual, but a hint of frustration lingered in his expression. "Very good, Maya," he said. "You completed that well. I wanted to see how you manage tasks under pressure. Maya inclined her head politely. Thank you, sir. I always try to do my work carefully and efficiently, she said. Her calmness remained steady, a quiet reminder that she was capable and confident. Victor's pride was challenged, but a new feeling emerged: respect. He could not ignore her skill, intelligence, and composure. Yet his ego still urged him to maintain control. He realized he had to approach her differently if he wanted to understand her and test her limits further. Maya returned to her routine, continuing to clean the floors and organize supplies. She moved efficiently, her eyes scanning the area as she worked. Every step was precise, every action controlled. Her military past had taught her to remain alert, to anticipate challenges, and to act decisively if necessary. As the day progressed, the tension between Maya and Victor remained silent but present. Neither spoke openly about the parking lot confrontation or the small test with the supplies, but both were aware that a larger test might come. Victor began to plan carefully, considering strategies that would reveal her limits without underestimating her again. Maya stayed ready, aware that any situation could require quick action and calm judgment. By evening, the office had emptied, leaving quiet halls and polished floors. Maya finished her shift, organized her supplies, and prepared to leave. Victor watched from his office window, considering his next move. The silent challenge between them had grown stronger. Both knew that the next encounter would not be simple. Strength, intelligence, and patience would be tested, and neither could predict how the other would respond. The city of Harwood continued its rhythm outside, unaware of the quiet tension building inside the office building. Maya walked through the parking lot with calm determination, and Victor lingered behind his desk, plotting his approach. Both were prepared for what was coming, ready to test limits and reveal hidden strengths in ways neither had yet imagined. The following day, the office building of Harwood carried its usual energy. Employees moved quickly through the halls. Phones rang constantly, and the smell of fresh coffee filled the air. Maya arrived early, pushing her cleaning cart with quiet efficiency. She greeted a few coworkers with a nod, her calm presence noticeable but not intrusive. She had prepared herself for what she knew could happen today. Victor's temper and pride had not diminished, and she was ready for any challenge. Victor, meanwhile, had spent hours planning. He could not accept the feeling of being unsettled by someone he considered beneath him. He wanted to test Maya directly, to see how she would respond under pressure that could not be avoided. His plan was simple. He would create a situation that required quick thinking and observe her reaction. If she faltered, he would feel in control again. By mid-morning, Victor approached Maya in the parking lot. He held a stack of important files that needed to be taken to a client's car. Maya, he called, forcing a polite tone. I need these files moved quickly to the car outside. Please make sure nothing is damaged. Maya accepted the files carefully. Of course, sir, she replied, holding them steadily. She moved with precision, knowing the task was important but also aware that Victor was watching her every move. As she walked toward the car, a sudden obstacle appeared. A rolling cart from another janitor blocked part of her path. Without hesitation, Maya adjusted her steps, maneuvering the files safely around the cart while maintaining balance and control. Her movements were smooth, efficient, and confident, showing the result of her training and discipline. Victor followed closely, observing her reaction. He had expected hesitation or a small mistake. Instead, he saw focus, skill, and calm confidence. Each action Maya took was deliberate, careful, and precise. He began to realize that she was more capable than he had imagined. Just as Maya reached the car, another challenge emerged. A client had arrived unexpectedly and stepped in front of her path. Excuse me, the client said, unaware of the urgency. I need to talk to Victor quickly. Maya paused for a brief moment, then smiled politely. "I will move aside carefully so you can reach him," she said. She adjusted her hold on the files and shifted her weight to avoid any accident. Her calm and careful handling impressed the client, who stepped aside without a problem. Victor watched silently, feeling a mix of frustration and admiration. He had tried to create pressure, but Maya handled it without a single mistake. Her ability to remain composed under unexpected challenges made him realize that she was not only physically capable, but also mentally sharp. After placing the files safely in the client's car, Maya straightened and smiled politely at Victor. "The files are secure, sir," she said. Her voice was calm and steady, yet full of quiet authority. Victor exhaled slowly. He could no longer rely on intimidation alone. Maya had shown skill, intelligence, and composure that demanded respect. He realized that any further attempts to control her through force or anger would be ineffective. Maya returned to her work, organizing supplies and cleaning the floors efficiently. Her movements were smooth, her eyes alert, and her mind ready for any challenge. She understood Victor's pride and temper, but she did not fear him. She was prepared, calm, and disciplined, qualities that he could not easily unsettle. As the day ended, the office grew quiet. Employees left one by one, leaving polished floors and empty halls behind. Maya finished her shift, organizing her cart and preparing to leave. Victor remained in his office, considering the events of the day. He had tested her limits and found them higher than he had expected. The quiet tension between them had shifted. Victor's respect for Maya had grown, though his pride still lingered. Maya's calm determination had once again proven that strength and skill often came in unexpected forms. Both understood that the encounters were far from over. Each was preparing silently for the next moment when patience, intelligence, and courage would be tested. The city of Harwood continued its rhythm outside, unaware of the quiet battle that had grown inside the office building. Maya walked through the parking lot with steady confidence, and Victor remained behind his desk, planning carefully. Both knew that the next encounter could change the balance between them entirely. The next morning in Harwood, the office building was already filled with the sound of footsteps, conversations, and ringing phones. Maya moved efficiently through the hallways, checking supplies and cleaning floors while keeping her eyes alert. She knew Victor's pride would lead him to act again, and she was prepared for whatever challenge he might create. Her mind remained focused, her body calm, and her instincts sharp. Victor had spent the night planning a more direct test. He wanted to push Maya in a situation that could not be avoided, one where her skills and patience would be fully revealed. He knew she was capable, but his ego would not let him simply accept her quiet authority. Today, he intended to observe her closely in a situation that would challenge both her strength and composure. By mid-morning, Victor approached Maya with a folder of important contracts that needed to be delivered to the conference room on the top floor. He forced a polite smile. "Maya," he said, "I need you to take these to the conference room immediately. They are time-sensitive." Maya nodded, holding the folder securely. "I will take them carefully, sir," she said. Her voice was steady, her posture confident, and her movements precise. She began to carry the folder, walking toward the elevator while remaining aware of the environment around her. As she reached the elevator, it suddenly stopped on her floor with a loud mechanical sound. Maya stayed calm, analyzing the situation quickly. She knew that panicking would not solve anything. Pressing the emergency button, she communicated with the building's control center and explained the situation clearly and politely. She held the folder close and prepared to move in any direction if necessary. Victor arrived moments later, watching from a distance. He had expected hesitation, perhaps fear, but instead he saw control, focus, and clarity. Maya remained composed, handling an unexpected problem with ease and efficiency. Finally, the elevator doors opened, and Maya continued her journey to the top floor. As she approached the conference room, a group of employees blocked part of her path while rearranging chairs for a meeting. Without rushing, Maya adjusted her steps carefully, moving the folder around the obstacles while keeping it secure. Her actions were smooth, deliberate, and precise, reflecting the discipline she had learned in the past. Victor followed quietly, observing her every movement. He had expected challenges, but nothing he planned had been enough to disturb her composure. Each action she took showed intelligence, awareness, and calmness. He began to realize that her strength was not only physical, but also mental. When Maya reached the conference room, a client arrived unexpectedly and stepped in front of her. Maya stopped for a brief moment, then smiled politely. "Please go ahead, sir. I will be careful as I pass," she said. Adjusting her stance, she moved past the client without incident, keeping the folder safe. Victor watched silently, a mix of frustration and admiration on his face. He had tried to create pressure and challenge her abilities, but she had managed every obstacle without a single mistake. Her calm focus, even in unexpected situations, left him both impressed and uneasy. After placing the folder safely on the table, Maya straightened and looked at Victor. "The contracts are secure, sir," she said, her voice calm and confident. Her presence alone commanded respect, showing that she was capable of handling far more than most could imagine. Victor exhaled slowly. He realized that intimidation or careful planning would not shake her. Maya had proven once again that she was disciplined, intelligent, and calm under pressure. His ego had been challenged, but so had his understanding of strength. Maya returned to her work, continuing her routine efficiently. She cleaned the floors, organized supplies, and moved through the halls with steady focus. She remained alert, ready for any situation that might arise. Knowing that Victor's next move could be unpredictable. By evening, the office grew quiet. Maya finished her shift and prepared to leave, confident and composed. Victor remained in his office, reflecting on the day. He had tested her again and found her abilities far beyond what he had expected. The silent challenge between them had grown stronger, and both understood that the next encounter could be decisive. The city of Harwood continued its rhythm outside, unaware of the quiet tension inside the office building. Maya walked through the parking lot with calm determination, and Victor remained behind his desk, planning his next approach. Both were ready for the next test of patience, intelligence, and courage. The next day in Harwood, the office building carried a quiet tension. Employees moved about their work, but whispers circulated about the unusual encounters between Victor and Maya. No one had seen the full confrontation in the parking lot, but everyone sensed something different about her. Maya arrived early, her movements calm and purposeful, her mind alert. She knew Victor's pride would push him toward another attempt to assert control. Victor, meanwhile, had spent the night planning a more serious approach. He wanted to confront Maya directly, to see how she would respond when cornered. He knew she was capable, but his ego would not let him back down. Today, he intended to test her in a situation that would reveal her full strength and intelligence. By mid-morning, Victor approached Maya in the parking lot. He held a folder with critical documents that needed to be delivered to a meeting across town. "Maya," he said, trying to sound polite, "I need you to deliver these documents quickly. It is very important that nothing is damaged or delayed." Maya accepted the folder carefully, her hand steady. "Of course, sir," she replied. Her voice was calm, her posture straight, and her movements precise. She began to walk toward the elevator, fully aware that Victor was observing her. As she reached the elevator, a sudden distraction occurred. A delivery cart rolled unexpectedly into her path, blocking part of the floor. Without hesitation, Maya adjusted her steps, maneuvering the folders safely around the obstacle. Her movements were smooth and controlled, Reflecting the discipline she had learned long ago, Victor followed closely, curious to see her reaction. He expected a small mistake or hesitation, but Maya handled the situation effortlessly. She moved with focus and confidence, her mind sharp and aware. Every action she took demonstrated intelligence and skill. Leaving Victor frustrated and impressed as Maya reached the elevator, Victor called out, "Be careful." "Maya, these documents are very important." "I understand, sir," Maya replied calmly, adjusting the folder in her hands and stepping into the elevator. She pressed the button for the top floor and maintained perfect balance as the elevator ascended. Upon reaching the conference floor, Maya encountered another challenge. A group of employees was rearranging chairs for a meeting, blocking part of her path. Maya paused briefly, then moved carefully around them, keeping the folder safe and her steps measured. She did not rush, and her calm confidence made the employees step aside without any confusion. Victor watched silently from a distance, realizing that his attempts to create pressure had failed. Maya's ability to remain composed under unexpected circumstances left him uneasy. He began to understand that her strength was not only physical but mental. She was intelligent, disciplined, and ready for any challenge. Finally, Maya reached the conference room and placed the folder safely on the table. She straightened and looked at Victor. "The documents are delivered, sir," she said, her voice steady and confident. Her calm presence commanded respect, and even Victor could not deny her efficiency and skill. Victor exhaled slowly, a mix of frustration and admiration in his expression. He realized that intimidation, planning, or pressure alone would not unsettle her. Maya had proven herself repeatedly, handling every obstacle without hesitation or mistake. He understood now that her strength and discipline were extraordinary. Maya returned to her work, moving through the halls with precise and efficient steps. She cleaned the floors, organized supplies, and maintained constant awareness of her surroundings. Her training and experience had prepared her for situations far more dangerous than a simple confrontation with a wealthy businessman. By evening, the office had emptied, leaving polished floors and quiet halls. Maya finished her shift and walked toward the parking lot with steady determination. Victor watched from his office, reflecting on the day. He had tested her limits, and she had exceeded every expectation. The silent challenge between them had grown stronger, and both knew the next encounter could be decisive. Outside, the city of Harwood moved at its usual pace, unaware of the quiet tension building inside the office building. Maya moved calmly through the parking lot, confident and prepared, while Victor lingered in his office, planning carefully. Both were ready for a final test of patience, intelligence, and courage, one that could change the balance between them entirely. The next day, the tension in the office building of Harwood was undeniable. Employees moved through the halls, some stealing glances at Maya and Victor, sensing the silent challenge that had grown over the past week. Maya arrived early, pushing her cleaning cart with her usual calm efficiency. She greeted a few coworkers politely, her eyes scanning the environment as always. Her mind was alert, prepared for whatever Victor might attempt today. Victor, meanwhile, had spent the night planning a direct confrontation. He could no longer accept being unsettled by Maya's calm presence and precise actions. Today, he intended to confront her fully, to see if he could regain control or at least understand her strength. He walked through the parking lot with determination, holding a folder with critical contracts, knowing this would be the moment to test her completely. As he reached her, he called out, "Maya, I need your help immediately. These contracts must be delivered to a client across town. It is urgent that nothing goes wrong." Maya accepted the folder carefully, her hand steady. "Of course, sir," she replied. Her voice was calm, her posture confident, and her mind alert. She knew that Victor intended to observe her, to push her limits, But she was ready for the challenge. As she began walking toward the elevator, Victor followed closely, his eyes analyzing every movement. He had arranged the route to include several obstacles, thinking that a small challenge might reveal her limits. A janitor's cart rolled across the floor, partially blocking her path. Maya adjusted her steps smoothly, moving the folder around the cart with precision. Her focus never wavered. Victor observed silently. He had expected hesitation or a minor mistake, but none came. Each step Maya took demonstrated discipline, intelligence, and calm confidence. He began to understand that her strength was far beyond what he had imagined. Upon reaching the elevator, another challenge appeared. A group of employees had gathered for a discussion, standing directly in her path. Maya paused briefly, then smiled politely. "Excuse me, please," she said softly, and moved through carefully, keeping the folder secure. Her movements were measured, and the employees instinctively stepped aside. Victor could feel his pride challenged, yet he also felt admiration. He had tried to create pressure, but Maya had handled every obstacle effortlessly. Her calm presence, her sharp focus, and her ability to remain composed under unexpected challenges left him realizing that she was extraordinary. Finally, they reached the client's office. Maya placed the folder carefully on the desk. She straightened and looked at Victor. "The contracts are delivered, sir," she said, her voice steady and confident. Her calm authority filled the room, leaving no room for doubt about her abilities. Victor exhaled slowly, a mix of frustration and respect on his face. He had planned to assert control, but he had failed to shake her confidence. Instead, he found himself learning from her poise and intelligence. His ego had been challenged, but he had also gained a new understanding of strength. Maya turned and began her walk back to the building, continuing her usual routine. She moved efficiently through the hallways, cleaning and organizing supplies while keeping her eyes alert. Every movement reflected discipline and preparation, qualities Victor had come to recognize as remarkable. By evening, the office had emptied, leaving quiet halls and polished floors. Maya finished her shift and stepped into the parking lot with calm determination. Victor lingered in his office, reflecting on the day. He had tested her fully, and she had exceeded every expectation. The silent challenge between them had reached its peak, and both knew that respect had replaced conflict. Outside, Harwood streets were alive with their usual rhythm, unaware of the quiet tension that had unfolded inside the building. Maya walked through the parking lot with steady confidence, ready for any future challenge. Victor remained behind his desk, acknowledging silently that strength often came in unexpected forms. Both had learned from each other, and the balance between them had shifted. The sun set over the city, casting long shadows across the parking lot. Maya's calm determination and Victor's newfound respect marked the end of a chapter in their lives. A quiet understanding had formed, and both knew that true strength was measured not only in power or authority, but in composure, intelligence, and courage. The office building returned to its routine, but the story of Maya and Victor remained a lesson in patience, resilience, and respect, proving that the quietest person could possess the greatest strength.